All right, we are talking, well, we're going to finish talking about connective tissue, and then we're going to move on to the hard amino acid, the amino acid that gives the body, the fingernails, the skin, the hair a certain solid constituency. This is an amino acid that's found in a lot of shampoos. We're going to talk about the Brazilian blowout, which is a hair treatment that a lot of women know about for straightening hair. All as it relates to this amino acid, this really important amino acid, cysteine, basically an animal amino acid, basically an amino acid that you can get in animal products. You get some in soy as well, and grains have cysteine, dairy products have cysteine, but for the most part, cysteine is an animal, beef, chicken, fish amino acid. We'll be talking about that here in a minute. I just want to finish up talking about connective tissue. We've been spending a lot of time talking about it, and it makes sense because nearly half of the body is made up of connective tissue. Many skin health issues, or many health issues, involve the connective tissue. Connective tissue disease and connective tissue related disease play a role in almost every single type of degenerative breakdown you can name. Connective tissue is the unified field. It literally connects all parts of the body. It's involved in detoxifying all parts of the body. It's involved in feeding and nourishing all parts of the body. And of course, it's involved in oxygenation of all parts of the body. The circulatory system, the lymph system, the bone system. All of these are connective tissues, or considered to be part of the connective tissue system. Connective tissue oxygenates and nutriates, it detoxifies, and it's the system that breaks down first in response to digestive problems and in response to toxins too. Mercury, prescription drugs, environmental pollutants, these don't help connective tissue either. Connective tissue stores toxins, and over time connective tissue can become polluted. Over time, disruptions in the connective tissue matrix and the three-dimensional substance of the body begin to take their toll on various cells, and this is where the downward spiral of disease begins. This is where the triangle of disease really takes hold. It's in the connective tissue. Digestive system starts to break down at a very early age, shockingly early, even prenatally sometimes, but certainly by the time we're 1 or 2 years old, digestive system breakdowns are starting to occur in many, many people. And as these breakdowns occur and poisons start to get into the blood, they deposit in the connective tissue. This is where connective tissue poisoning really begins early in our life. Toxicity and poisoning in the connective tissue following long-term, chronic, over and over, day-to-day assaults mostly through foods, mostly through a broken down digestive tract, form stressors in the body, and these create pockets of cell starvation, suffocation, toxification, which ultimately leads to a defensive response, an immune response, an inflammatory response, which then leads to more starvation, suffocation, toxification, and we are off to the disease races. So what's the initiating factor? What's the beginning factor? We got to know what that is. If we're going to really address this, we got to know what starts the ball rolling, and it's always going to be a stressor, an assault from the outside, real or imaginary, and usually chronic over and over. These stressors cause disturbances in the connective tissue, and bingo, we're off to the disease races. And this, my friends, describes the vast majority of chronic degenerative disease, and there ain't nothing your doctor can do about it. So what do we do? Well, first of all, we got to understand what the heck's happening, and that's why we spent so much time on this subject, to address connective tissue health challenges, autoimmunity, osteoporosis, vasculitis. Maybe some of you guys heard that Harold Ramis, the movie director and actor, died of vasculitis, complications from vasculitis a couple days ago. Just a classic autoimmune disease of the connective tissue. Myositis, another polymyositis, myositis. These are all connective tissue problems. So what do you do? How do you handle these? Well, first and foremost, you got to eliminate the toxicity. If you've been toxic for a while, if you've got mercury leaking from your fillings, or if you've been exposed to any kind of toxins, use bentonite clay, use zeolite, use seaweed, use chelating agents. Chelating agents magnetically attract mercury and other toxins out of the body. Selenium is a wonderful chelating agent, maybe the most important chelating agent when it comes to detoxifying from mercury. We'll be talking about cysteine here in a little bit. Cysteine is an amazing chelating agent. Maybe, well, next to selenium, it may be the body's most important chelating agent. certainly one of the body's most important chelating agent for magnetically attracting poisons out of the body. Vitamin C is a major player in detoxification and chelation, and also in connective tissue building. And of course, protein is also going to be important for building connective tissue, and so are the essential sugars from vegetables and small amounts of fruits. Amino acids are important for building and strengthening connective tissue. The glucogel caps, essential fatty acids, really the entire mighty 90 is going to be important for helping build connective tissue. Make sure you're keeping your digestive system healthy as well. Use the Z radical from Longevity. Not only is that a great chelating agent, not only can it help magnetically attract toxins out of the body, but it can help coat and soothe the digestive tract as well. Don't forget your probiotics, especially the Biolumin Nightly Essence. Look for multiple strains of bacteria. You want about 60 billion units a day or so. Make sure you're eating fermented foods. Long-term bacterial overgrowth and fungal overgrowth from a imbalance in probiotics, so-called dysbiosis, can create toxicity in the connective tissue, and it could be one of the precipitating factors in diabetes as well. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. Got a couple more things to say about connective tissue when we come back from our break. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. We are back on the bright side. I am Pharmacist Ben. 855-660-4261 is your bright side phone number for you guys living in the Bay Area. I'll be doing a talk at the Vintage Faith Church on March the 7th in Santa Cruz. Hope to see you all out there, 6:30 p.m. We'll be talking about hacking into the biology of the body. I think that's appropriate for the Santa Cruz, San Jose area, Bay Area folks. Talk about hacking into the biosystem. And that'll be March 7th at the Vintage Faith Church. Hope to see you all out there. If you want to purchase any of the Longevity products or join the Brightside Ben team, call 866-735-2470. They can give you the scoop. You can also click on the Join the Team link on the upper left-hand corner of the page at brightsideben.com. We also have a shopping cart up that you can pull down if you want to purchase any of the Longevity products. And I also want to encourage you to check out my blog, pharmacistben.com, which we update regularly with news stories as well as blog posts. You can also purchase products off blog at pharmacistben.com. Thank you to Robert Lundgren, who does such a great job on my website. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you very much. Let's see what else. All right, we're going to continue. Well, let me just say a couple more things here about connective tissue, and then we'll talk about cysteine, which is, super, super important amino acid, especially when it comes to building glutathione, the body's most important detoxifying, cancer-fighting substance. Let's see, cysteine. Connective tissue. You want to build connective tissue by focusing on digestive health, by using protein, the glucogel caps, vitamin C, essential fatty acids, and don't forget about your weight-bearing exercises. And stretching as well. Tightness is a connective tissue problem. Tightness can occur after some kind of trauma or just over the course of time. There was a guy named Dr. Wilhelm Reich and another guy named Dr. Alexander Lowen, who was Dr. Reich's protege, and Dr. Reich and Dr. Lowen came up with a system of health and healing that involves connective tissue. It's called bioenergetics. You can Google bioenergetics. There's a couple. Dr. Lowen has a bunch of books out. So does Dr. Reich, actually. But my favorite is just simply called bioenergetics. It talks about how we develop hardness in our connective tissue and stiffness in our connective tissue over time. Microscopic contractions in the connective tissue result in this overall stiffness and hardening. The connective tissue is very dependent on flexibility and range of motion. The connective tissue is where blood is flowing through and toxins are flowing out of. When the connective tissue becomes stiff, blood doesn't flow to the organs and the cells as well. Cells are not detoxified as well. So hardening of the connective tissue can be a big problem. Hardening of the connective tissue can present us with lymphatic problems, oxygenation problems. Both the lymph and oxygen, as well as nutrients, require a free-flowing connective tissue matrix, and stiffness can impair movement and ultimately can cause autoimmune problems as well as degenerative disease and an accelerated demise. In fact, it's not inaccurate to say that the hallmark sign of the aging process is connective tissue hardening and connective tissue breakdown. So stretching can be super helpful. So can Pilates. Yoga is another interesting physical therapy for keeping connective tissue healthy. In India, they've known for thousands of years about the importance of keeping connective tissue flexible and loose, and yoga has been an important part of Indian daily life for thousands of years. Here in this country, yoga is an important daily life for many thousands, many millions of Americans. The Indians, not American Indians, Indians developed a whole science around yoga, and they based their spiritual life and physical life on the principle that keeping connective tissue flexible can be an important part of all the dimensions of health. They recognized that keeping connective tissue flexible and limber was an important strategy for keeping the body healthy, for keeping the soul healthy, for keeping the mind healthy. When the first yogis came from India to the West in the 1930s and 1940s, everyone made fun of them. They were they were made into a caricature, but as it turns out, those yogis knew exactly what they were doing. So Ashtanga yoga, Iyengar yoga, Bikram yoga, any of these body yogas can be a wonderful way to keep connective tissue loose and limber, improve detoxification through the connective tissue, improve muscle function, as well as improve overall health and reduce the signs of accelerated aging. All right, I think that's all I'm going to say about connective tissue. There's tons more we could talk about, actually. Connective tissue disease, mixed connective tissue disease is a serious problem. Lupus, scleroderma, autoimmune diseases. But I think in the interest of time, we'll just move on to our next subject, which is the amino acid cysteine. Amino acid cysteine, which is an important building block in glutathione. It's an important part of the detox system. It is an important part of the structure of the body as well. And later on, probably tomorrow or the next day, we're going to talk about my all-time favorite nutritional supplement, one that I've been discussing for many years. You can use it topically. You can use it internally. It's probably the most important most important detoxification substance for folks who are drinking alcohol. You can use this detox supplement to prevent a hangover if you take enough of it before you go out drinking and after you go out drinking, and it all involves cysteine. And we'll talk about that here in the next couple of days. So cysteine, it's part of our glutathione molecule. In addition to glutamine, which we've talked about before, we'll talk about the third component of the glutathione molecule as well. Cysteine contributes a certain hardness and strength to collagen. It acts like a little rivet that nails the threads of collagen together. It may be the most important, it is probably the most important hardening protein in the hardening amino acid in the body. Horns, as we've said, and hooves and feathers and scales. Wherever you see hardness in nature, even silk thread, which has a certain hardness to it, all depends on this amino acid cysteine. Collagen, as we said, is a type of biological rope or twine. In the same way twine is made up of smaller threads that wrap around each other, collagen likewise is made up of smaller fibers that are wrapped around each other, and that alone will give collagen a certain flexibility and strength. But then you add a little molecule of cysteine. It's inserted between the collagen threads, and this little molecule of cysteine kind of bolts the threads together like a rivet. And the riveting effect gives collagen its hardness. Actually, this riveting effect occurs in other proteins as well. And this is how cysteine acts to harden the surfaces of the skin and the hair and the nails. Cysteine is the most reactive of all of the amino acids. It has a magnetic component, which is the result of a strategically placed sulfur atom. We spent a lot of time a couple of months ago talking about the magnetic properties of sulfur, the electromagnetic properties of sulfur. And sulfur's electromagnetism is why it is such an important detox element. And indeed, cysteine gets its detox properties because it has a little element of sulfur. Sulfur also has a hardening property, and this hardening property is like its detox property is the result of its electromagnetic properties, and cysteine gets its hardening properties from its little atom of sulfur. So this magnetic sulfur makes cysteine bonds very hard to break. It makes it a perfect hardening amino acid for the skin, for hooves, for nails, for scales, for feathers. All hard external surfaces found in nature depend on cysteine, which in turn depends on sulfur for the hard texture. And then there's hair care. In the hair care world, stylists can make use of cysteine in shampoos. If you ever seen wheat protein in a shampoo product, shampoo manufacturers love using wheat protein. Wheat is a wonderful source of cysteine. So using wheat extracts or wheat protein or wheat kinds of ingredients in shampoos can help make hair healthier. There's actually a product called the Brazilian Blowout, which a lot of women know about. A lot of women with ethnic hair know about it. The Brazilian Blowout is basically a hair straightening treatment that takes advantage of the hardening properties of cysteine. And we'll tell you what we mean when we continue our discussion on this very important amino acid, hardening, detoxifying, high-protein amino acid, cysteine, on our next Bright Side episode. We're coming back with your phone calls. 855-660-4261 is our number. Don't go away. Got more good health information for you coming up right after this. All right, welcome back to The Bright Side. I am Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for being here, friends. Time to hit our phones. 855-660-4261 is our number. Rose, what is up? Good morning and welcome to The Bright Side.
Morning, Ben. We love you.
Thank you.
Say we appreciate giving yourself, and educating us.
Thank you, Rose. I appreciate
that. Thank you. I was going to ask you, I know that Steve called the other day, but I'm having an issue with my youngest son. He has this dry skin. I have been giving him the mighty 90s.
How old's your son, Rose?
Huh?
How old is he?
He's almost 18. He's 17, almost 18.
Oh, okay. Well, he's a little young to start experiencing dry skin, but dry skin is a very, very common problem. Here's the thing about dry skin. No human skin is ever supposed to be dry. Yet we know that most people have dry skin. And what that means is that most of us are not biologically or biochemically as healthy as we should be. Why is this important? Well, it's important because so many times we can consider skin issues to be cosmetic problems. We consider them to be superficial problems, and we miss a golden opportunity to address underlying health issues and use our skin as a barometer or as a diagnostic tool. So, in other words, as your dry skin improves, you'll know you're on the right track to correcting your biochemical imbalances. And if your dry skin doesn't improve or if your dry skin gets worse, you know that your biochemical imbalances are getting worse, leading you down the road to worse problems as time goes on. So, dry skin may be just unpleasant or superficial or cosmetic, but it's an indicator that something's going wrong that could ultimately lead to some really serious problems down the road. So what do you do? Well, first of all, we got to understand the skin. For the most part, the skin maintains its moisture via two major properties. One is a protein hardness that acts as a kind of surface barrier. A lot of that is formed from the protein cysteine and other proteins. I'll tell you about those in a minute. And then the second compartment of the skin that maintains its moisture balance are fats. So it's this combination of fats and proteins that keeps the skin moist. If you have dry skin, you either have a problem metabolizing or digesting or processing fats and protein, or you have a problem with the intake of fats and protein, or a combination thereof. So first, as with all health issues, you want to focus on absorption and processing of foods and nutrients. You say he's on the mighty 90, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's absorbing or processing. Look for digestive problems. Always first thing, look for bowel movement issues, constipation, loose stools, diarrhea, cramping, bloating, heartburn, gas. You know, we talk about these all the time, Rose. You know what I'm talking about. Focus on foods that cause those problems. If you notice that fatty foods cause those problems, then you probably have a fat metabolism issue. If you notice that protein foods cause that problem, then you may have a protein metabolism issue, and both of those can lead to dry skin. Use digestive enzymes, probiotics, the Biolumin Nightly Essence, the Ultimate Enzymes, apple cider vinegar after meals. Make sure as your boy is taking in fatty nutrients, essential fatty acids are especially important for keeping the skin soft and moist. Same with vitamin A and vitamin E for that matter. As he's taking in his fatty nutrients, make sure he takes his vitamin A, his ultimate EFAs, his vitamin E, 400 international units a day with fatty foods, with some apple cider vinegar, with the Biolumin Nightly Essence, and it wouldn't hurt him to throw in a little bit of extra bile salts and maybe some pancreatin and perhaps some lecithin as well. All of these can help the body process and utilize fats. Make sure he's using his fats, his vitamin A, and his essential fatty acids in a kind of divided dose fashion. So maybe 10,000 international units of vitamin A a day in the morning, another 10,000 at night, 3 essential fatty acids, 3 of the ultimate EFAs in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 3 at night with each meal, each time taking them with digestive enzymes, and each time taking them with bile salts and lecithin and all the other fat metabolizing aids. Don't forget about the probiotics and fermented foods as well. And you notice I haven't even said anything about topically addressing dry skin. That's because this is so important, you guys. And Rose, listen up. Dry skin is not a skin issue. Let me say that again. It's so important because we've got these predator skincare companies run by predator CEOs who have no business in the being in skincare, selling us skincare products to take care of dry skin when it's not a skincare issue. It's an internal issue. However, topically, if you want some symptomatic relief, you're not going to cure your dry skin topically because dry skin is occurring underneath the surface. It's not occurring at the surface for the most part. if you want to address dry skin topically, look for topical vitamin C and topical vitamin A in its retinol palmitate form. That's retinol palmitate, and that's spelled RETINYL, retinol, and the second word is palmitate, PALMITATE, retinol palmitate, also fat-soluble vitamin C. Those are the two most effective topical ways to address dry skin because they actually work underneath the surface, and they will give you some superficial effects on the dead skin on the top. Isn't that ironic that the surface of our skin is covered with dead cells, so-called corneocytes, which are dead cells, and the surface of our skin is lined with these dead cells, these dead corneocytes. And for the most part, when 99.99% of us treat our dry skin, what do? We put stuff on our dead skin cells. So you go out and you spend $100 for your fancy schmancy moisturizing cream that Cindy Crawford told you to buy, and you end up with soft, dead cells. Congratulations. Does that sound like a good idea? Well, that's what most of us do. So dry skin should be treated as a metabolic chemistry, as all skincare issues need to be treated as a metabolic chemistry issue. Focus on digestion, number one. Focus on protein and fatty intake of fatty nutrients, number two. Make sure you're using the Mighty 90. If you want symptomatic relief, you can always use topical vitamin A in its retinol palmitate form or topical vitamin C in its fatty form as well. Hope that helps you. Rose, anything else you got for us?
No,
Oh, shoot. Rose, I hit the button. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I cut Rose off. I apologize. Please don't take that personally. I just hit the wrong button. All right, moving on. Jim in Michigan, welcome to the bright side. What's up, my friend?
Hey, Ben. First, I'd like to say I've got a 16-year-old son, a 22-year-old daughter who have never seen a medical doctor in their whole life.
Nice.
They were raised on Dr. Wallach. First, we had cherry mints, and then we moved on to tangy tangerine, which my son takes religiously every day.
How long have you been doing the longevity products? Those are old-timers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God. Ever since, remember you used to be a guest on Dr. Wallach shows?
Back in the 90s?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's like pushing 20 years.
Absolutely. And actually, when my wife started taking Dr. Wallach's products, that was one of the reasons she got pregnant. So,
you mean Dr. Wallach got your wife pregnant? No, I guess we should rephrase that. Let's just say that a little differently. Yeah. I'm just kidding you, Jim. What's going on, my friend? How can we help?
Well, two things. I know a young lady, and she has chronic migraines.
Okay.
She's tried a lot of things. She's tried magnesium, lithium, Orate, I think it's called.
Orate?
Yes.
You want some ideas for that?
I beg your pardon?
You want some help with the migraines? They're really...
Absolutely.
Okay.
For her, I'd love to, because she's in pain constantly.
Okay, well, first of all, let me say lithium orotate is an amazing nutritional supplement. Dr. Wallach's been talking about lithium for a long time. A lot of folks with bipolar issues know about lithium, but you don't need to have bipolar issues or mania or really any mental health problems to benefit from lithium. It's a wonderful mood stabilizer just for average everyday folks, and I take a little bit before I go to bed, and it's a great sleep aid for me anyway. It helps relax me. Chronic migraines need to be regarded as first and foremost some kind of circulatory problem with the circulatory vessels in the brain. Hang tight, Jim in Michigan. We got to take a break, and we'll finish up when we come back. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. We're back on The Bright Side talking to Jim in Michigan. Are you there, my friend? James?
Thanks. Yes, I am.
Okay, so migraine headaches need to be regarded as a circulatory issue in the brain. Whenever you have circulatory problems, blood vessels opening and closing inappropriately, that's what a migraine really is. It's blood vessels in the brain opening inappropriately and then in response closing really tightly. That combination needs to be regarded as the manifestation of an allergic reaction first and foremost. That's the first thing. That can also have something to do with endotoxemia. That means toxins in the blood. And it can also have something to do with the female hormone estrogen. So the main things you want to look at, number one, are foods. And if you can link them up to foods, that's really the best way to do it. Number two, if you can link them up to problems with the digestive system, gas and bloating, something they call small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, that would be another good strategy. And then three, if you can associate them with problems in your friend's menstrual cycle. You did say this was a gal, right?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. She can link it up to problems with her, either problems with her periods, with her menstrual cycle, PMS, irregular periods, or if the migraines occur in the same part of her cycle every month, all of these are indicative that estrogen may be involved. Estrogen's probably involved no matter what. So what do you do? Well, first of all, look for food imbalances or food intolerances. Look for problems with the digestive system. That's the most important thing to do. You know, I say it all the time, but it really is the most important thing you can do. Grain can cause grain can cause migraine headache problems. Dairy can do it. Any kind of food allergen can do it. If she knows she has digestive problems, if she knows she has food allergies, she's one step ahead of the game. If she doesn't know she has them, look for them. It's in her interest to find them, not to make them up, but to find them if they're there. The second thing she wants to do is start to use nutritional supplements for the digestive system. You know, the people tell you about riboflavin, and they'll tell you about magnesium, and these can be very helpful for migraines. But unless you have a frank, all-out nutritional deficiency in magnesium or in the B vitamins or riboflavin, which of course is possible, you're simply going to get symptomatic relief by using these kinds of nutrients. Not that you don't want the magnesium. You need magnesium. Not that you don't want riboflavin, vitamin B2, and the entire B complex. You need the entire B complex. But you don't want to look at this as an allopathic nutritional kind of treatment. You don't want to say, well, I'm going to give magnesium to treat a migraine, the same way they say I'm going to give a serotonin reuptake inhibitor to treat a migraine, or a serotonin type of drug to treat a migraine. That's called allopathic nutrition, and that's just as bad, well, not just as bad, but almost as bad as using drugs. What we want to do is we want to get to the cause of our diseases, and you'll always find some kind of, as we said before, you're always going to find some kind of stressor that's getting into the circulatory system, that's getting into the body. So look for foods, look for problems with the digestive tract, leaky gut syndrome, problems with probiotic, with good bacteria in the gut, and then also look for problems associated with the female menstrual cycle. So you're going to be focusing on food allergies, patching up the digestive system using glutamine, the Z-radical, the biolumin nightly essence, and then perhaps stabilizing fat absorption and fat metabolism. That's really where you want to be with estrogen and estrogen problems. Stabilizing fat absorption using bile salts, lecithin, essential fatty acids. Vitamin E and vitamin A can help counteract estrogen imbalances also. 20,000 international units of vitamin A and 400 international units of vitamin E. It wouldn't hurt her to get on some progesterone cream. Progesterone cream can have a nice relaxing effect. Have you already tried that, progesterone cream, Jim?
That was what I was going to ask you about, progesterone cream, and I was going to ask you about arginine also.
Well, arginine's great, but it's not necessarily for migraine headaches, but progesterone cream can really be helpful for migraines, as can pregnenolone. Pregnenolone comes in capsules or tablets, about 100 milligrams a day, and we've talked about progesterone cream a lot in the past. Look for the best you're going to find is a 2% over the counter, but look for a compounding pharmacist who can make you a 10% or make your friend a 10% progesterone cream, and that can have a nice calming effect on the body in general for anxiety, and it can also have a relaxing effect on the circulatory system in the brain for folks who are dealing with migraine headaches. So lots of things you could do. Focus on digestive health, fat absorption, balancing out estrogen, and let us know how you do, Jim, or how your friend does. I'd like to hear how our suggestions work out. Okay?
Can I do one more quick thing, Doc?
Sure. What's up?
I had called you last week about my knee. I was thinking about knee replacement because when I was 16, I'm 65 now, at 16, they took out my meniscus and they took out my supporting cartilage in my knee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's been going downhill, and you said there might be a way to rebuild my meniscus, or did I hear you wrong?
Well, no, it depends. If it's completely gone, I don't know. Yeah, well, you could probably rebuild some of it. You could certainly rebuild the supportive You can rebuild the supportive tissue more than likely, but you got to make sure you're keeping I probably said this already to you. I'm sure I did. Keeping inflammation down is the most important thing, and that means staying away from pro-inflammatory foods, sugar, breads, pastas, refined processed foods, and anything that you react to. And then using things like the glucogel caps and cysteine and anything that helps you build collagen and connective tissue protein. Arginine may help you in that regard as well. Let's see what else. The amino acid glutamine can be very helpful for that. And vitamin C is the rate-limiting step in building connective tissue. So make sure you're using 1,000 to 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day, in addition to making sure that you're getting your Beyond Tangy Tangerine and making sure you're getting some eggs and whey protein and other animal-type proteins as well. All right, I got to move on, Jim. I hope I helped you. Did you want to say something else?
I'm with Dr. Wallach's products, and no doctors and no vaccines. My children are as pure as a driven snow.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Jim. Thanks so much for your call and your kind words. Appreciate it, buddy. All right, let's see if we can get a couple more calls in. Robert in Nevada, you've been holding on for a long time. What's up, my friend? How you doing?
Yeah, Bill. Ben, thanks for taking my call. Appreciate it.
Yes,
bud.
sir.
Let's talk water consumption. I listened to Jerry Boyle's show last week, and he had Robert Scott Bell on.
Okay.
I'm sure
love
you know
Robert.
that name.
Yeah, I love Robert.
Yeah. And the subject of water came up, and Robert Scott Bell said, to figure out how much water you need, you take your body weight, cut it in half, and that number.
I don't know. I don't know about those formulas. Maybe as a rough guide, but everybody's going to have different needs. Go by how you feel. If you're tired, drink more water. If you're fatigued, drink more water. If you find that you're hungry in the middle of the day, you're snacking in the middle of the day, drink more water. But here's the thing about water consumption that goes under the radar and nobody talks about. The more water you're drinking, the more you're going to lose your B vitamins, the more you're going to lose your electrolytes, the more you're going to lose your vitamin C. I talked about this at the longevity training last week. The more water we drink, and we're all, you do need to drink water, and you want a lot of water. There's no doubt about it, especially if you don't feel well. Go by how your body feels and how it responds. You'll know when you're dehydrated, and you'll know when you've had enough water. But here's the thing. The more water you drink, the more you're going to lose your water-soluble electrolytes, your water-soluble B vitamins, your water-soluble nutrients in general. Vitamin C too. So you want to make sure if you're drinking a lot of water that you're also drinking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. This is one of the most important benefits of the BTT. You replace the water-soluble nutrients that your body would lose, or your body's losing, every time you urinate. Every time you go to the bathroom, you lose your B's, your C's, and your electrolytes. And the more water you drink, the more you go to the bathroom, the more you lose these nutrients. If you drink enough water and you're not replacing them with the BTT, with the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, you run a serious risk for B vitamin deficiency, vitamin C deficiency, and electrolyte deficiency. And I oftentimes wonder how much of our heart issues, our circulatory problem issues, our degenerative disease issues, our subclinical scurvy issues, which is like things like osteoporosis and circulatory problems with blood vessels, how much of these problems are really related to deficiencies under the radar, undiagnosed deficiencies in the B complex and vitamin C and electrolytes. And given the fact that most people are not supplementing, and given the fact most people are not using the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and given the fact that most people are drinking water, I'd say it's a good chance that you can run into some nutritional deficiencies, serious water-soluble nutrient deficiencies by drinking a lot of water. So, long story short, Robert, make sure you're drinking water. It's absolutely important. I don't know about the formulas. There maybe as a rough guide, the formulas are okay. Some people say take your weight and turn it into ounces, and that's how many ounces of water you're supposed to drink. Some people say half your weight in ounces, whatever. I say,
what Bill said.
I'm thinking go by just how you feel. When you're dehydrated, you'll know it. When you're tired, if you feel like eating, try using water. Sometimes water can help you with your appetite. Sometimes water can give you more energy. If you have a hangover, if you're drinking or you're doing anything to put toxins into your body, prescription drugs, or if you're around toxicity, drinking water can help clear toxins out of your body. If you feel a cold coming on, drinking water, guzzling water can help flush cold toxins out of your body as well. But please, if you're drinking more water, make sure that you're replacing those water-soluble nutrients with your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Folks, I cannot emphasize to you how important this BTT, this Beyond Tangy Tangerine, can be towards restoring your health if you're not feeling as well, helping you maintain your health if you are. All right, sorry if we left you on hold. Try to call back tomorrow, and we'll get to you first up. Tell our call screener that we left you on hold. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for listening, folks. Check out my blog, pharmacistben.com. Check out my website, brightsideben.com, and click on the Join the Team link. It helped me in my mission to educate the world about the power and importance of a good nutritional supplement program. We will talk to you all later, folks. Have a wonderful, beautiful day. Bye for now.